my name is Stefan Andjelic, and I come from Raiffeisen Bank International. And today I'll be talking about our internal competence center that deals with blockchain and crypto assets called Blockchain Hub, and also share some insights with you on the trends in how financial institutions use crypto assets. And also big thanks to Makoto and his team for inviting me here today. It's a great honor. As Makoto said, I'm a big fan of SORA project and everything else that Soramitsu is working on. So this is a rough agenda what I'll be speaking today. So first I'll give a short intro into the Blockchain Hub and what we are about. Then also I'll share some of our observations on what changed since 2017 in the market, when it comes to digital assets. Also, I will be sharing some more info on the role of Raiffeisen Bank International in digital assets world, and also share also some insights on our use cases with digital assets. So just an intro slide for some of you who might not have heard of Raiffeisen Bank International. So the abbreviation is the same as Reserve Bank of India, so easily to get confused. But basically, Raiffeisen Bank International is the largest Austrian and the Central Eastern European bank with a strong presence in the CE market, where we serve over 17 million customers, have over 45,000 employees. We are also very strong in our retail business with over 2,000 business outlets. And yes, we are present in 13 different markets in Central and Eastern Europe. And basically, so how Blockchain Hub fits into this overall picture, as outlined here. So basically, Blockchain Hub is an internal competence center within the Strategic Partnerships and Ecosystems Department, where we have four key pillars. One of them being the Elevator Lab, which focuses on basically partnerships with the fintechs, so who are very active in blockchain, but also in other areas of innovation. Then we also have a Group Open APIs team, and recently we got the addition of cross-industry partnerships departments. And in the essence, basically, so how FinTech Partnership Program fits here is that basically for us as a bank and for any other bank in the world, blockchain and crypto assets are not the core competence yet. So basically, whenever we are experimenting with one or another use case, here we are always very eager to team up with fintechs who fully specialized in this field already, and also based on this gain very valuable knowledge from them in the field of blockchain and digital assets. Then open APIs, basically, so for whichever blockchain application that we want to enable in production. So here we need basically also internal APIs developed that will connect these applications to our core banking systems. And also, besides fintechs, we are also very much focused on partnering with other already well-established companies who are also willing to experiment in this exciting field. And basically, so also how the idea came to form the Blockchain Hub internally is that so in 2017, when there was a huge buzz around crypto assets, there was also a lot of discussion in the banking and financial institutions sector on how blockchain and digital assets could be incorporated within our business, and what basically banks could do in these regards. And of course, there was also a spillover of these discussions within Raiffeisen Bank International, but the issue was that at the end of the day, the topic was on NOMA's agenda. And that's why within Strategic Partnerships and Ecosystems Department, we basically decided to form this internal center, which is responsible for driving, monitoring, and steering of the topic of blockchain and all the blockchain-based initiatives within Raiffeisen Bank International. So one of the key things that we are working on is monitoring current market developments. So basically here, gaining the knowledge on what is happening in the markets, what other financial institutions are working on, what different fintechs are offering in these regards, and basically the sooner we spot these endeavors and developments, the sooner also we can initiate something internally in gaining knowledge in these regards. Then also, basically, once we identify these new trends, so we are very much focused on understanding what effects all these trends have on us and developing a strategic understanding of the impact of blockchain technology in our business, and getting also our senior management on board, basically, with all these different developments. And last but not least, very important, besides this theoretical part, is demonstrating the feasibility of technology, meaning develop real blockchain-based use cases and work on strategic POCs and pilot projects that would basically allow us to gain hands-on experience and to test in practice some of these concepts that I will also mention to you today. So basically, as you can see in this slide, we identified 5 key areas of focus when it comes to blockchain technology in particular. So first one is basically usage of the blockchain technology in the field of self-sovereign identity, and how basically a lot of KYC AML procedures could be streamlined and done more effectively using the blockchain technology. The second area where we are also very active is the cash and payments. So basically trying to understand on how blockchain technology and stable coins can be used also to process the payments of our clients in a much more efficient manner. Then the third area where we are active is the field of trade finance. So this basically comes very naturally in the business of financial institutions, because here there are a lot of counterparts that need to be dealt with in a traditional trade finance transaction, and basically the blockchain gives an additional layer of, or let's say a new layer of transparency to all the counterparts on the status and progress of a certain trade finance transaction. Then also one very important field that we are very much focused on is security services. So basically this falls within the area of asset servicing, custody, and margining. And last but not least, the area of capital markets. So how can we use all these innovations in the field of digital assets in offering a superior customer experience to our clients, and offering them also new asset classes in which they can invest. Okay, so this was a short intro about the RBI and our blockchain hub, and now I would like to discuss in some more detail on how we perceive the developments in the field of crypto assets. So what we can see on the slide is how the crypto asset environment looked in 2017. So basically there we had a very significant increase of the demand, particularly from the retail side, in crypto assets. And so up to this point, basically the primary focus when it comes to cryptocurrencies was on Bitcoin, Litecoin, and alike. So basically the forks of Bitcoin that came before. But in 2017, we had a huge ICO boom where we had basically hundreds of different projects in field of payment tokens, utility tokens, and also somewhere around 2018, security tokens as well. And then basically what this actually triggered is that we had also emergence of new market players appearing and offering new services. And here I particularly mean different crypto exchanges that popped up and want to grab basically the piece of this new emerging market. And then last but not least, somewhere around 2018-19, we also had traditional market participants starting to experiment in the field of crypto assets, and also some of them offering already platforms to the clients. So one example would be, particularly here in Europe, Stuttgart Stock Exchange, they basically created an app called Bison, which offers the possibility to their clients to buy and sell cryptocurrencies. So this is one clear example where traditional market participants with well-developed a business of covering traditional asset classes also pivoted towards satisfying the demand of the retail segment, particularly for cryptocurrencies. And then what actually we are seeing now is that since then the market has grown significantly, particularly from the Q2 2020, when we had also new kind of asset classes and new trends popping up. And here I particularly mean the whole field of decentralized finance, which brought the whole field to totally new levels. So what happened basically since then is that crypto assets market grew exponentially to market cap of 1.6 trillion. We have the new business models in DeFi, and here we are not talking anymore about theoretical concepts, but already about millions of people using these applications on a daily basis. And also here SORA positioned itself very well with its projects that are very well utilized also by the clients. And also we have the new financial instruments appearing, like exchange traded products which are based on crypto, which are being offered by traditional stock exchanges. And then basically also in the field of traditional asset classes, here we had interesting trends, particularly in case of non-fungible tokens, where basically the digital art gained a very crazy momentum, and where, as you probably all know here, so we had some of the pieces here being sold for millions of dollars. And last but not least, in the field of central bank digital currencies, so we came to certain research that 80% of central banks are already active in the field of CBDCs, and more than 50% are already experimenting. And also here, one big success story, which was also the motivation for us in our use case that we are working on, is the Bakong currency, so developed between SORA and the National Bank of Cambodia, which is already in production, so a central bank digital currency in production used by retail clients in Cambodia. And yes, so basically what actually allowed the traditional market players to jump into this whole new field of crypto assets are regulations. So here on this slide, you can see some of the developments going on, particularly in European Union. So one big breakthrough was the 5th Anti-Money Laundering Directive, which was adopted in January 2020 on the EU level, which basically requires all centralize crypto assets businesses to comply with the same set of anti-money laundering and counterterrorism financing rules as other financial institutions. Then in 2020, here also the German Financial Market Authority called BaFin, they qualified crypto assets as financial instruments, and also they started issuing the licenses for trading and custody of crypto assets by financial institutions, which was also a very, very significant development. And in 2021, so Switzerland, they adopted new DLT law, which requires a great range of flexibility for traditional banks as well to offer crypto assets to their clients. And now more relevant to the European Union, particularly, so to other countries. So by the end of 2022, it is expected that two key regulations will be adopted, which would allow also financial institutions on EU-wide level to offer crypto assets to their clients. And yes, so here on this slide, basically, we outlined the emergence of new players in four key areas related to crypto assets, so trading, custody, payments, and issuance. So for trading, so basically here we're talking about enabling customers to trade crypto assets in a limited environment. So here, well-known players, I guess to all of you, so Coinbase, Bitpanda, Bitstamp, etc., who established themselves well in this field. Then a field of custody, referring to safekeeping of crypto assets by storing private keys, and basically offering the white label solutions to different financial institutions. So here's some examples of companies would be Fireblocks and Crypto Finance. Then in the field of payments, which enable on-chain payments and settlements, here there is also one Austrian startup called Salamantex, which offers basically POS machines for the shops that then allow them to accept cryptocurrencies basically for payments in these shops. And then in the field of issuance, so here this refers to converting assets into digital tokens on blockchain. Some of the players would be Bitbond and Signum. And yes, basically bundling all these different services also gave the rise to new crypto banks, let's call them that this way, like Nuri, which was previously called Bitwala, Virex, and Seva Bank, which basically offered a mixture of traditional banking financial products and services, and also the crypto-related ones. And basically, we can see the same trends that were mentioned on the previous slide among traditional financial institutions who basically were, let's say, in a big sense, pushed by fintechs to basically react and also start experimenting in this field. So in field of custody, for example, so we have here in our banking world a very positive example of Standard Chartered Bank and Northern Trust, basically creating a special entity called Zodia, which would offer the crypto assets custody to their clients. Then in the field of issuance, so here we saw a lot of banks offering, let's say, tokenized bonds and other financial instruments using blockchain as underlying technology. Then in the field of payments, so you all are aware of PayPal example. So these were very big news earlier this year that PayPal will basically start offering cryptocurrencies to their clients. and also basically JP Morgan, who developed their JP Morgan coin, and they had first basically in production transaction between their institutional clients using JP Morgan coin as a settlement tool. Then in field of trading, so here we have already some of the banks that allow their clients to trade crypto assets like Revolut, and also we have others that open the trading desks for crypto assets as well. So basically, yeah, we see that there is a lot of development going on, and that we have a lot of these traditional players engaging very actively into this field. And yeah, just to share also some insights about RBI's endeavors in these fields. So basically, we are also active in all these 4 areas. So when it comes to custody, here basically we are now testing a custody solution in a test environment for crypto assets, which is basically, let's say, more educational POC for us. So to learn how to store crypto assets, but also how to tokenize, mean create these digital proxies of traditional asset classes with use of smart contract on Ethereum now specifically, not limiting us, of course, in the future to experiment with other blockchains in these regards. Then when it comes to issuance, so here I'll discuss in a bit more detail afterwards. We did our RBI fund token proof of concept, where we basically tokenized traditional fund shares of Raiffeisen Capital Management, which is our subsidiary dealing particularly with funds business. Then in field of payments, so here we are working on the cross-border payments POC between Raiffeisen Bank International based in Vienna and our subsidiary in Russia, Raiffeisen Russia, and basically we want to test on how we could basically streamline the payments and not having to rely on traditional payment channels such as SWIFT, for example, but basically on how the payment can be processed using the underlying blockchain technology. And also here in the field of payments, we developed another educational POC for our colleagues called REST, which stands for Raiffeisen Euro-based stable token, which was offered particularly to employees of Raiffeisen when their one REST token equal to €1. So the employees, they could basically obtain these tokens. So they would basically send euros to a certain bank account. They would receive the equivalent in REST tokens, and then they can use these tokens to pay for lunch in canteen, coffee in cafeteria, etc. So for some internal bank payments. And basically the idea here was to somehow bring this abstract concept of blockchain and crypto assets to something very tangible and comprehensible by our employees, and basically to also, let's say, open the horizons for them so that they can think of other interesting use cases in field of blockchain and crypto assets. Yes, besides this, we are also part of working groups of the European Banking Authority, where we are helping in shaping different blockchain-related regulations. And then also we teamed up with Austrian Blockchain Center, which is based here in Austria, which is basically the world's largest academic competence center developing different kind of blockchain-based research. And here we teamed up with them on a project called Pantos, where we are doing a joint research on interoperability between different blockchains. And besides this, we are also starting now the coin tracing project. So basically, which would then, if one day we would offer crypto assets, help our internal compliance basically have the overview of basically being able to trace on which addresses certain coins were previously, etc. So something very similar to what Chainalysis already offers. And so here now I would like to deep dive into a few practical use cases that we've been working on. So our first, let's say, first practical POC in the field of crypto assets is called RBI coin, which is basically a stable coin backed by euro currency. So for every RBI coin in the circulation, there is the equivalent being held at one specific bank account in the bank, so that one RBI coin always equals €1. So basically, what we wanted to focus on in this POC is on how issuance, transfer, and redemption of stable coins work. So in the first step, basically, one of our clients, meaning we tested this first with friends and family, so with our different subsidiaries of Raiffeisen. So they would send a certain amount of euros to this particular bank account, and they would receive the equivalent in RBI coins. So let's say Raiffeisen Capital Management would send 100 euros to a bank account. They would receive 100 RBI coins. Then basically they would be able to transfer these coins in a peer-to-peer manner with different entities participating within this ecosystem. And whenever one of these entities would want to redeem RBI coins for euros, they would be able to do so by sending basically RBI coins to the burn address, and they would receive the equivalent in euros on their bank account. And basically, so this was, let's say, the cornerstone for us in developing other use cases in the field of crypto assets. So this was also, let's say, the motivation for another initiative that we then started afterwards, which is called the RBI Fund Token Initiative. So our colleagues from the Raiffeisen Capital Management, they basically identified that this concept could be very well utilized in their traditional business. So basically enabling potentially the clients in the future to purchase tokenized fund shares by a dedicated mobile app or a web portal. So basically what we did here is that if you take a certain fund here into consideration, so that for each fund shares, you would create a token representing this fund share, and basically the clients would be then able to sell these tokens, also buy the tokens from other people, or transfer them to anyone within the network. So basically what this allows us also and our clients is to significantly decrease the fees basically of buying and selling these tokens, but also of distributing the fund shares themselves. And so what it also can help us is accessing new customer groups who are more lean towards these alternative investment vehicles. And basically also it allowed us to gain insights into the concept of tokenization, which we can also now apply to other types of traditional financial assets. And also it enables our clients to have a fully digital experience when it comes to buying and selling funds, which will be done through these tokens. And so here basically I included a few screenshots so that everyone can see on how this solution looked like. So basically we had a dashboard which showed the amount of digital cash, which are RBI coins, which I initially mentioned. Then also the client can see the amount of fund tokens he's holding, and then the client is able to trade the tokens against euros and euros against tokens, and also in addition to send tokens to other people within the network. And whenever also the person will want to cash out the euros or these RBI fund tokens, he will be able to do so. So the app looks very basic, but it helped us really gain insights into this whole field and how the whole basically tokenization process works in practice. And also, as I mentioned, one very interesting POC that we are currently also working on is related to digital assets custody, which also allows us to gain insights, knowledge, and experience of this business field. And as we know, here in the market currently for our retail clients, there are a lot of hardware solutions that allow them to basically handle the digital assets themselves, and that is very fine for people who are, let's say, very technically proficient to deal with crypto assets. Nevertheless, in order really to reach the mainstream adoption and to reach to basically people who do not have, let's say, also the knowledge and do not want to basically be self-custodians for crypto assets. Here, basically, what is very much needed from our point of view is having trusted institutions offering this service for the client. So for clients for whom it's too much basically hassle, and they don't feel confident dealing with assets themselves, and they basically can hold these assets with trusted financial institutions. And that's why basically we are also focusing on this particular field as well. Yeah, so here basically here is a brief timeline of this custody sandbox project. We had basically a technical setup of the whole infrastructure between February and March. Then we had internal training for all our employees for whom this kind of service relates, on how basically to use this solution. And basically, so from May onwards, we are focusing basically on testing how the safekeeping of different types of crypto assets basically works, because some every crypto asset has some of their own specifics that we internally need to deal with. So last but not least, so as I also briefly mentioned, so we have the partnership here with the Pantos project, testing basically on how tokens can be easily transferred from one blockchain to another, but also establishing a communication between different blockchains. So as you know, at the moment, there is a quite good this bridge communication developed by between, let's say, Ethereum and layer 2 solutions like Binance Smart Chain and Polygon. But also what we also want to focus here as well on is on how this communication between totally unrelated blockchains can function as well, and trying to come up with some kind of a standard for the interoperability, which can then be used. And yes, so if you have any questions about what has been presented, then this is how you can find us. So here also my colleagues Gernot Prettenhaller and Vid Hribar. And yeah, please feel free to reach out to us if you have, let's say, some interesting suggestion for use cases. If you're potentially a fintech looking for some cooperation, so we are very open to all kinds of questions and information sharing here. So that would be it. Thank you very much. And now I guess we can jump into questions with Makota.
Great. So thanks a lot for the talk, Stefan. So it was quite interesting to see what Raiffeisen Bank International is doing. And I think it's really I've talked to a lot of banks, and this is really, really innovative and new stuff. So it's also interesting because I know that you also do quite a lot of stuff yourself as a hobby with blockchain. And it's really interesting to kind of see how you can take some of the ideas from public cryptocurrencies and put it into the context of banking and financial markets infrastructure. And I think quite a lot of banks are kind of looking at this, but actually very few are actually doing anything. So it's really exciting. And
yes, it was actually one of the main things that we need to go through is really convince our board of management to start gaining a practical experience into this field, because things might, in theory, sound one way, but until you try them, you really don't have no clue how they function.
Yeah, and I think a lot of this new technology, not just blockchain, but other fintech, is really changing how banks work with customers and what the role of banks are in society. So up until now, banks have been really the allocators of credit as one of the main drivers of growth. And this is changing a lot as central banks start to develop central bank digital currencies, and non-bank financial institutions, like Revolut, start to offer bank-like services to their customers. So, do you see kind of using blockchain technology and maybe crypto assets and different derivative products as a way that banks can kind of stay competitive in this type of changing field?
Definitely. I would even go that far, saying that the ones who are not innovating in this field will become reluctant. So will become so they will start losing customers. So we see basically also that banks like Revolut and that offer really a great service to clients by incorporating on one side the banking products and these possibilities of trading different types of assets, really gaining momentum and really getting to a lot of clients. So I think it is inevitable to see a big shift among traditional banks towards this field and really offering all these services to the clients eventually.
Yeah, I'm in particular. I've many questions. I don't know where to start almost, but one I do have is, I know that you personally are familiar with things like self-custodial, self-custody of crypto assets and using open blockchain infrastructure. I was wondering, how do you see that this type of DeFi space working with traditional financial institutions and FMI?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So basically. So DeFi as a field itself, it somehow tries to disintermediate the central institution. And so financial institutions, very naturally, they are afraid of any kind of disintermediation. So what actually a lot of financial institutions, including us, are very heavily now researching is on how we could position ourselves in here. Because what banks at the end of the day still do have is a trust from the clients, and on how basically we can utilize this trustful partner position in this whole field, and what actually we can bring into it. As I also mentioned in my presentation, so self-custody as a concept is already quite well adopted by the market itself. Nevertheless, a lot of people who are just jumping into the field and who are not as technically proficient and profound, they are ready to more rely on traditional trusted institutions when it comes to custody. And that is where Raiffeisen and also other banks are seeing their potential role. So offering this kind of trusted crypto assets custody to the clients.
Yeah, I think that's an obvious way that banks can work with crypto assets. What about more innovative use cases? So, for example, like what we're doing in SORA, we're really trying to create a decentralized economic system so that producers can come there to get access to credit. Well, I'm using the term credit kind of loosely here, but we're also seeing this trend in governments of, like, for example, El Salvador using crypto assets because for them, the dollar is a foreign currency anyway, so why not use like another foreign currency that maybe has less restrictions? How do you kind of see these trends working with like a bank? Do you think a bank like Raiffeisen, well, maybe it's a hard question to answer, but do you think that you could, like your RBI coin, like could this be something that is public and permissionless that maybe you could even trade on PokerSwap?
I would say that also being in Raiffeisen, especially the team dealing with innovation, we have a lot of crazy ideas and we would really like to implement it all, but we have basically the limitation in terms of regulation. So this is, let's say, for now, the big question mark and something that always pops up in lots of our discussions, that even, let's say, not as crazy ideas, so something that we believe should be, let's say, kind of a common sense in what should be offered to clients. We are unable to do so due to the lack of regulation in the overall field. So what is here positive is that EU, particularly where we are based, sees all these innovative developments going on, and they are trying now to create this regulatory framework which would actually foster the innovation rather than limiting it. So we are hoping that really this markets in crypto assets regulation, which should come into place by the end of 2022, would really allow us to develop all this innovation and ultimately offer all of that to our clients.
Yeah, it's quite fascinating, I think, the different trends. Let's see if we can take some questions from our open chat. There's quite a lot of interesting ones. Lots of people are interested is like could RBI, or how could RBI work with SORA? Do you have any ideas for that? So, for example, in cross-border remittances or things like that.
Definitely, I think that could be definitely one of the fields. So, as I mentioned during the presentation, so a lot of your work that you're doing in Soramitsu has been a motivation for us, and really it's inspiration to start some of our initiatives like this RBI coin, for example, considering that you developed already CBDC, the National Bank of Cambodia. So I would say in field of remittances, so here Soramitsu has a lot of know-how, and also in other enterprise level blockchain solutions, I think this would definitely be the field for some of the touch points between Soramitsu and RBI.
Let's see what else. There's lots of questions in our chat. Like, people had a question about what in general would banks need to be able to invest in ecosystems like ZOR, for instance. So obviously there's some regulatory clarity that's needed, but also going beyond that, maybe there's ways that banks could wrap cryptocurrencies or crypto assets in some kind of existing financial structures, like through SPVs, for instance. Have you explored any of these possibilities?
We haven't explored yet, but so what now also, I guess people could see from the presentation. So we are rather now going with some, let's say, basic use cases, because as you can imagine, for the bank also of our size, not everyone speaks the same, let's say, language and has the same knowledge on what basically crypto assets and blockchain can allow us to do as a bank. So basically what we are trying now to do is to create really this basis for everyone in the bank when it comes to the knowledge on blockchain and crypto assets, that would also allow us to proceed with some other ideas here. But maybe basically this wrapping of crypto assets, so this goes maybe a little bit in hand with tokenization that we are also currently focusing on. So we are focusing currently on tokenization of traditional financial assets, but for example, if and this is also something that we also discussed on one occasion, so wrapping of crypto assets and offering, so going, let's say, other way around, wrapping crypto assets and offering them as traditional financial instruments would also be very interesting idea for the future.
Yeah, an example would be like maybe Raiffeisen couldn't buy directly from the token bonding curve on PokerSwap because of whatever business practices, but they could underwrite a bond from a private company that would then take money from the equity or from the bond market, and then take this and put it into the token bonding curve, and then get some return, and then put it back to the customers in the form of like a fixed income product. So it seems to me there's a lot of untapped potential in that type of market. Like DeFi farming in general could be a feed into many fixed income products. It's kind of a general idea, because in the Eurozone, for instance, interest rates are extremely low, and so other types of financing, are really interesting to investors. So the bond markets have been really hot, and of course, equity markets. So I think, there's quite a lot of potential in that area that maybe we'd be happy to look at. And finally, I'll just end you with one more quick one, and that's somebody wrote in the chat, like, could a RBI participate in the SORA Parliament as one of the, for example, interest panels or another type of sortition body? That's actually part of the vision, I think. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We are open for discussion here. Yeah, I will also bring that to my colleagues, and we can have a talk on this, definitely.
Yeah, so once the parliament is set up, I think that's really an interesting idea, because the whole idea of the interest panel is to have something like a ministry where you have a professional team that there's experts in some field that can write a real opinion about it. Anyway, we're a bit over time, and I appreciate that you're taking time out of your working hours to speak here. So thanks a lot for joining us, and we'll take a break right now, and then up next, I think it'll be Hen and I will give a kind of a discussion talk. Professor Werner, we were able to contact him, and he got stuck at the airport with some COVID procedures or something. So we're hoping to get him on in maybe after in maybe a couple hours. So we're kind of we'll have him speak, but we have to be a little bit flexible. So thanks everyone for understanding. So thanks a lot, Stefan. Have a great day. Say hi to everyone, and then enjoy.
Thank you very much.